Welcome back, story enthusiasts! Today we're exploring 6 essential character archetypes that form the backbone of compelling narratives. Imagine a world where stories are rivers, and characters are the currents that sweep us along. Now, picture yourself as a master of these waters, able to guide your audience through rapids of emotion, across still pools of reflection, and into the vast ocean of human experience. This is the power that Carol S. Pearson's The Hero Within places in your hands. Now, you might be Googling the title and wondering, why should I care about some psychology book from the 80s? Well, think of it as the starter pack for understanding character depth. Pearson's work, it's like a Swiss Army knife for storytelling. It takes ideas from literature, anthropology, and psychology, and distills them into 6 heroic archetypes: innocent, orphan, warrior, wanderer, altruist or martyr, and magician. Originally, The Hero Within was designed as a guide to personal growth, using archetypal patterns to help readers understand their own psychological journey. It unexpectedly became a valuable resource for writers, offering a framework for relatable characters. Where it gets even more interesting is from an interview with screenwriter Jeffrey Allen Schechter. He spoke on Pearson's work and how it applies directly to storytelling structure. Schechter boils it down to who your character becomes as a result of answering 4 central story questions. Who are they? What are they trying to accomplish? Who is trying to stop them? And what happens if they fail? These questions don't just define your character, they shape your entire narrative, and how they answer or solve these questions is directly reflected in their original archetype. However, characters aren't one-dimensional. We also need to think of them using the concept of except when. For example, in Toy Story, Woody is a friend to all. He's the sheriff, the one they trust to fix conflicts and maintain order and peace, except when his relationship with Andy is threatened. It's this layering that brings depth to your storytelling. Our focus now is on the 6 foundational archetypes. Before we explore their storytelling applications and interactions, we need to understand each one individually. Think of a character with wide open eyes, an open heart, and an unshakable faith in the world's fundamental goodness. They're the dreamers, the idealists, the ones who believe in happy endings no matter what. Here we find our first archetype, the innocent. You might be thinking, nobody's that naive in real life, but we all start as innocents. Remember when you were a kid and you jumped and you thought for even the slightest of seconds, I can fly? That's the innocent in action. This archetype taps into our nostalgia for a simpler time and our hope for a better future. You often find them in shonen anime or manga, in stories for younger audiences, or those with serious topics approached more lightly. Their plot follows a fall from grace or a rude awakening, where the challenge is maintaining their core optimism in the face of harsh realities. Let's take a look at 2 examples that on the surface couldn't appear any less alike: Gon from Hunter x Hunter and Forrest Gump. For Gon, his unwavering optimism serves as his greatest strength. Starting as a cheerful boy seeking his father, Gon's journey challenges his worldview but never fully extinguishes his light. Even when confronting Ditto and tapping into his darkest nature, Gon's core innocence remains. This duality, maintaining optimism while facing harsh realities, allows him to turn potential enemies into steadfast allies. Gon's evolution showcases how the innocent can grow more complex without losing their essence. His allies supporting him even when he loses his powers, drawn to the enduring spark of his inherent optimism. Similarly, Forrest Gump's journey showcases another facet of the innocent archetype. Like Gon, Forrest begins as a simple, kind-hearted boy, facing ridicule for his low IQ and question mark spine, yet possessing an inherent goodness. His worldview shifts when he loses Bubba in Vietnam, teaching him about life's randomness. Yet rather than becoming cynical, Forrest's perspective evolves, molding him into a wise, resilient man. As he navigates pivotal moments in history, his innocence could lead to trauma, but instead becomes his strength. Forrest's unwavering, guileless outlook helps him not only survive, but thrive, positively impacting those around him and showcasing the enduring power of the innocent archetype. As in each case, these characters' innocence serves as a unique strength, allowing them to overcome obstacles in ways cynical characters never could. They serve as moral compasses, often contrasting the complexity of the world around them. Although the most captivating innocent characters aren't without scars. They evolve, facing challenges that test their worldview. So they either retreat into cotton candy denial or maintain their optimism in a more grounded way. When crafting an innocent character, remember that their strength lies in choosing hope and optimism, while life's darker side beats on them. Even after making conflicting choices, they fight to overcome that darkness. That's what makes them truly compelling. If the innocent is the wide-eyed optimist, the orphan archetype is their weary-eyed cousin. This archetype is so common in fantasy that it's practically a rite of passage for first-time writers. But don't roll your eyes just yet. It's popular for a reason. The orphan archetype resonates deeply with anyone who's ever felt neglected, abandoned, or just plain lost. It's a bit cliche, sure, but only because it's so darn relatable. We've all had moments where we felt the world was against us, right? This time you might be thinking, isn't this just the innocent archetype with a sad backstory? Not quite. While both archetypes might share similar ages or obstacles, they cope with their challenges very differently. The innocent maintains their grip on those rose-colored glasses. The orphan's lenses are decidedly more shattered. The orphan's journey is all about survival in a world they perceive as dangerous and unfair. Their task? To move beyond that pain and develop realistic expectations about life. It's a tricky balance. They need to shed their illusions without becoming too cynical. Let's look at Ellie from The Last of Us as our orphan poster child. Born into a post-apocalyptic world, Ellie embodies the orphan struggle. She's tough, resilient, and deeply skeptical of the world around her. Unlike an innocent character who might hope for a promised cure to the zombie plague, Ellie is grounded in the harsh realities of her world again and again. But here's where it gets interesting. Ellie's journey isn't just about finding a happy ending. It's not about that at all. It's about finding connection and purpose in a world that seems devoid of both. Her relationship with Joel becomes a lifeline, showing how orphans often seek surrogate families to fill the void left by their losses. Losses that, when they can't let go, consume the orphan with seeking justice. We all face moments that shatter our illusions about the world. The orphan archetype shows us how to pick up those pieces and forge ahead, for better or worse. For you storytellers out there, the orphan archetype is a goldmine for character development, hence why it's popular. Their cynicism can provide a perfect foil for more optimistic characters. The most compelling orphans are those that learn to balance their wariness with hope, with laughter or the small pleasures in life. For them, rose-tinted optimism will never make the world's darkness any less painful, but their journey from isolation to connection can drive powerful narrative arcs. And their resilience in the face of adversity? That's the stuff of memorable heroes. When we think of warriors, we usually picture muscle-bound heroes or skilled fighters from fantasy, action, or science fiction. You know, your Gokus, John Wicks, or Master Chiefs. But I've got a different kind of warrior. Walter White from Breaking Bad. Okay, yeah, a high school chemistry teacher, some warrior. But hold on, because Walt's journey is a masterclass in the darker side of the warrior archetype. Walter starts out as a warrior only in his mind. Underappreciated, overqualified, and burning with resentment. But it's his cancer diagnosis that ignites the spark. Suddenly, this mild-mannered teacher transforms into Heisenberg, a meth-cooking criminal mastermind. Walt's initial goal is noble, provide for his family after he's gone. Classic warrior stuff, right? But as he dives deeper into the criminal underworld, something shifts. The warrior archetype isn't just about fighting external battles. It's about internal ones too. Walt's not just battling cancer or rival drug lords. He's fighting against his own moral decay. What makes Walt's arc so compelling is how he embodies the warrior's drive for achievement and respect, but twists it into something sinister. He's not just content with being good at making meth. He has to be the best. He's not just satisfied with having enough money. He wants an empire. What makes Walt's arc so compelling is how he embodies the warrior's drive for achievement and respect. This is where Walt's story diverges from your typical warrior tale. Instead of growing more heroic, he becomes the villain. Paradoxically, he never stops being a warrior. He's constantly strategizing, fighting, and pushing himself to new limits. It's just that those limits are moral ones, not physical. By the series finale, Walt has fully embraced the dark side of the warrior archetype. He's calculating, ruthless, and willing to do whatever it takes to achieve his goals. His final act, saving Jesse and getting revenge on his enemies, is pure warrior, but it's a far cry from the noble protector he initially set out to be. What Breaking Bad shows us is that the warrior archetype isn't inherently good or evil. It's a neutral force that can be channeled in various ways. Walt's journey is a cautionary tale about what happens when the warrior's drive for achievement and respect becomes divorced from morality and compassion. So, next time you're crafting a warrior character, consider the complexity that comes when the warrior's strength is turned inward, when their battles are as much with themselves as with the outside world. Wanderers are the solitary seekers of the storytelling world, particularly common in more mature narratives that center around a protagonist who has developed deeply ingrained beliefs and worldviews. These narratives tend to resonate with viewers who've experienced life's complexities and who are grappling with their own established beliefs, which is why you'll spot wanderers in all sorts of genres, from sci-fi to westerns, but they're especially prevalent in stories aimed at adult audiences. The wanderer's journey is all about confronting the unknown, both externally and internally. It's about questioning long-held truths and venturing beyond the familiar. This archetype emerges when characters feel their beliefs are visibly contradicted or are thrust into unfamiliar territory. Let's look at Mando from The Mandalorian as our wanderer. At the start of the series, Mando is a lone bounty hunter with a strict code of conduct. A perfect example of a character with structured beliefs he takes as fact. His wanderer journey begins when he breaks this code to protect the child, aka Baby Yoda, aka his target. His arc embodies key aspects of the wanderer. He starts in a state of isolation. He's forced to question his long-held beliefs about his culture and his place in the world. His journey leads him to confront the unknown, both in the outer reaches of space and within himself. What makes the wanderer archetype so darn interesting is this internal tug of war. Mando's constantly caught between his loner instincts and his growing heart, between following the rules and doing what's right. For aspiring storytellers, the wanderer archetype offers rich territory to delve into identity crises and ethical dilemmas. The key is creating a character whose established worldview faces significant challenges, prompting gradual, but meaningful change. However, their character arc is about evolution, not revolution. Instead, show how they integrate new experiences and perspectives while maintaining their core identity. It will resonate deeply with viewers who already understand that personal growth is an ongoing process unbound by age, filled with difficult choices and moments of self-reflection. Imagine a hero who doesn't wield a sword or cast spells, but whose power lies in unwavering loyalty and simple acts of kindness. This is the essence of the Altruist archetype, embodied perfectly by Samwise Gamgee from The Lord of the Rings. Although this archetype is sometimes called the martyr, the Altruist isn't about self-erasure. Their strength lies in their unwavering commitment. When Frodo's resolve wavers, it's Sam who keeps the perilous journey on track. His will hardens in the face of adversity, while his heart softens with compassion. This duality is the Altruist superpower, the ability to be both steadfast and nurturing. Unlike his fellowship, Sam has no grand destiny or desire for adventure. His heroism stemmed from a singular, profound source, his loyalty to Frodo. This devotion is what makes Sam the epitome of the altruist, and as Tolkien himself said, the real hero of the story. But Sam isn't perfect. His altruism faces its greatest test with the arrival of Gollum. Despite his mistrust, Sam tries to support Frodo's decision to spare Gollum. Yet when Gollum's treachery leads Frodo to reject Sam, we see the true depth of Sam's character. Even in the face of this heartbreaking dismissal, Sam's commitment never wavers. The pinnacle of Sam's altruism comes in the final stretch of their journey. As Frodo, overwhelmed by the ring's power, is ready to give up, Sam delivers one of the most poignant lines in the movie. "I can't carry it for you, but I can carry you." In this moment, Sam embodies the altruist's ultimate expression, the willingness to bear another's burden when they no longer can. What sets Sam apart is the object of his heroism. While others in the Fellowship had grand motivations, duty, destiny, or a thirst for adventure, Sam's reason was beautifully simple. He didn't want Mr. Frodo to go alone. This singular focus allowed Sam to persist where others might have faltered. In the end, Sam's archetype offers that true heroism doesn't always come from grand gestures or innate abilities, but from steadfast courage and the simplest acts of friendship. Consider the quiet power of the altruist. They might not be the ones who strike the final blow or even make grand speeches, but they're the ones who make the journey possible, who remind us that saving the world can start with helping a friend, and that in the face of overwhelming odds, unwavering support can be the most powerful force of all. Within our final archetype, there exists a character type that dances on the edge of possibility, where the laws of reality bend to the will of imagination. This is the realm of the magician archetype, a figure who doesn't just accept the world as it is, but dares to dream of what it could be. Enter Edward Elric from Full Metal Alchemist, a young alchemist whose journey embodies the essence of the magician. But don't be fooled into thinking this archetype only exists in realms of fantasy. Magicians walk among us, shaping our world in ways both grand and subtle, one transformed reality at a time. What sets the magician apart is their approach to naming and perceiving the world. While the innocent names the world as inherently good, the magician starts by identifying problems and then explores new avenues of perception. And unlike the wanderer who is active in finding the truth but lost in how to do so, or the warrior who forces the world to change per their own desires, the magician knows what they believe is the truth and uses wit rather than brawn. Edward exemplifies this as he grapples with the consequences of his actions and the harsh realities of being an alchemist. The magician's pursuit of honesty can be threatening in a world where people often try to appear more than they are. But Edward's journey shows us the power of confronting truth head-on. His quest to restore his brother's body and his limbs forces him to face the darkest aspects of alchemy and himself. Crucially, the magician's way of addressing problems is tempered by love and the belief that no one is intrinsically bad or wrong. We see this in Edward's unwavering commitment to finding a solution that doesn't sacrifice innocent lives, even when faced with the temptation of the Philosopher's Stone. Edward's story also highlights the magician's fixation on balance. His entire magical system relies on equivalent exchange, a perfect metaphor for the magician's understanding that every action has consequences, and true transformation requires sacrifice. As Edward navigates the impossible, paving his way through seemingly insurmountable challenges, he embodies the magician's core belief that we have the power to reshape our challenges, but only if we're willing to face the truth and take responsibility for our choices. For storytellers, the magician archetype allows you to explore themes of power, responsibility, and the consequences of our actions. The challenge lies in balancing the magician's incredible abilities with very human flaws and ethical dilemmas. Remember, magicians aren't just found in fantasy. They're the innovators, the visionaries, the people who refuse to accept impossible as an answer. They're the ones who look at the world as it is and dare to imagine what it could be. Now that we understand each of these archetypes, let's examine how they shape characters' journeys and story themes. Consider the contrast between Gunn from Hunter x Hunter and Walter White from Breaking Bad. Gunn embodies the true innocent archetype, accomplishing everything with an unshakable belief that the world is good and optimism is bottomless. This innocence colors each phase of his journey, allowing him to form deep connections and turn potential enemies into allies. His unwavering determination to find his father, even at great personal cost, exemplifies the theme of the price of ambition, yet he never loses his pure optimistic core. Walter White, on the other hand, is a fake innocent, masking a warrior archetype. His journey reflects a transition from being a warrior only in his mind to one in life, albeit a corrupted version. As he moves through his phases, Walter's descent from a mild-mannered teacher to a ruthless drug lord illustrates how the warrior's drive for achievement and recognition can morph into a relentless pursuit of power when unchecked by moral constraints. His final admission, "I did it for me, I liked it, I was good at it," reveals the full emergence of his warrior nature, showcasing a complete transformation driven by his choices. Now let's compare Samwise Gamgee from The Lord of the Rings with Edward Elric from Fullmetal Alchemist. Both are bound by a desire to protect those they care about, but their approaches differ dramatically due to their archetypes. Samwise, the quintessential altruist, supports Frodo unconditionally. His journey from gardener to the hero who carries Frodo up Mount Doom demonstrates the theme of ordinary people rising to extraordinary challenges. Sam's altruism manifests in following behind Frodo, picking up the pieces, and providing unwavering support, even at great personal cost. Edward Elric, as a magician, takes a more proactive approach. His quest to save his brother Al is driven by a belief in his power to reshape reality. Edward's journey is marked by an internal struggle between using convenient means and doing what's morally right, even if it means prolonged suffering for both him and Al. His eventual realization that he must sacrifice his ability to use alchemy showcases how the theme of equivalent exchange extends beyond mere alchemy to Edward's life itself, marking his evolution from a rule-bending prodigy to someone who fully accepts the consequences of his actions. The success of these character arcs lies in recognizing that while change is inevitable, it's always colored by the character's starting point. As screenwriter Jeff Kitchens notes, the way a protagonist resolves their central dilemma expresses the story's theme. It's not just about what they do, but how they do it through each phase of their journey. When crafting your own stories, start with a sense of your theme and your character's initial archetype, but be open to how they'll evolve. You need to embrace the accept when moments, those instances where characters break from their primary archetype, revealing hidden depths. Edward, the magician, pursues the Philosopher's Stone to solve his and his brother's plight, except when he knows of its cost, exposing his inner innocent. Gon, the eternal optimist, except when his friends are threatened, unveiling his warrior core. These moments of contrast not only add complexity, but also showcase how characters are influenced by their starting point, even as they grow. Remember, great storytelling isn't about rigidly adhering to archetypes, but understanding how characters move between them, creating a dynamic interplay between their core nature and their evolving selves. These instances add complexity and humanity to your characters. It's what turns them from a good character into an unforgettable one. Did this video spark any ideas for your own writing? Leave a like and share your thoughts and questions in the comments below. Your insights might just help someone who needs it. Until then, whenever you find yourself in a pickle on how to improve your story, just know, ditto. You're not alone, and I'll be here to help.